Hello and welcome to Stat Attack for GG. I'm Andrew Mount, your host for today. That makes it sound really grand, so I'm going to be introducing a plethora of guests over the next 5 or 6 minutes, but it's just me and a whole pile of boxes because I'm hoping to move house fairly soon if we ever get a completion date. Now, last week in the first video, I discussed various biases and trends over 4 days, Wednesday to Saturday, and I'm going to adopt the same approach this week. And I want to concentrate on the all-weather because the weather means we're going to lose a few more jumps meetings through abandonment, no doubt. So starting with Wednesday and Lingfield's all-weather fixture. Now, Lingfield's bias has been all over the shop this winter. We've had days where the inside rail's favoured, a lot of meetings where you want to be coming late and wide down the outside of the track. Now last week, starting with the bumpers meeting and a couple of flat meetings after that, it certainly seemed to be a big advantage to race towards that inside rail. It wasn't so pronounced on Sunday, maybe the track's quickening up again after it was deep harrowed just over a week ago. But I'm certainly not going to be put off backing low drawn runners at Wednesday's meeting. Now, one angle we could have exploited this winter since the 1st of November was to back all horses drawn in stalls 1, 2 and 3 at Lingfield in handicaps over a mile or shorter. So that's 5 furlongs, 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs and a mile. Now, had we done so, we'd have found 38 winners from 243 runners, a strike rate of almost 17% and a huge profit of £91.22 to a £1 level stake. Now, we've got some small fields on Wednesday, but I still want to side with those drawn low. And the race that interests me in particular is the 6 furlong sprint at 2:25. Now, there's only 6 runners here, but 5 of them like to be ridden from off the pace. And the one who's likely to be up there is Jackstar from stall 1. Now, he's been running over 7 furlongs of late, running with credit at Wolverhampton. But he has made the running in the past, even though he didn't on his latest start, and he's dropping back in trip to 6 furlongs in first-time blinkers. And I would imagine that Luke Morris is going to take full advantage of that inside berth and just blast off from the down the inside in the first-time headgear, and hopefully make all a bit like Fizzy Feet did, one of the horses I put in my column last week. So that's Wednesday's bet. Jackstar and the 2:25 at Lingfield, and look for stalls 1, 2 or 3 in those races over the shorter distances. Moving on to Thursday, we've got an all-weather meeting at sunny Southwell, or Southwell if you prefer. Now, the 5 furlong bias is the strongest bias at Southwell at the moment. This is where they race straight down the middle on the straight 5 furlong track, and if you're drawn on one extreme or the other, you're generally struggling. So if 10 runners, stall 10 is towards the near side rail, you certainly don't want to be anywhere near there, and even stall 1 would be a questionable draw of late because you'd end up more towards the far side, which again can be slower. So ideally you want a prominent racer with a middle draw who's just going to blast off down the centre of the track on the quickest strip. Now, there's one I like in the 355. This is a Class 3 handicap, and that's Ornate, the old boy for the David Griffiths yard. David Griffiths had a real tough time since resumption, but recent signs are more encouraging. And indeed, Ornate ran a good race at Newcastle last time, finishing second when I put him up as a bet. Now, he helped set it up for the Progressive Venturous, but it was still a good effort in defeat. And he hasn't had many opportunities here at Southwell over the course of his long career. I think it's 5 runs in total, 2 wins, 2 seconds and a third all over this 5 furlong trip. Now, the last time he ran here, he finished second despite racing down the near side rail from a highish draw. So coming back to this track for the first time in a couple of years, I think Ornate can just ping and go straight down the middle and make all. But again, we don't know the draw at the time of recording, although there's not many runners here. You know, if there were 8 runners, I'd want to be drawn sort of 3, 4 or 5 ideally. Moving on to Friday and another all-weather fixture at Dundalk. Now, Dundalk's been fascinating since they put the new surface down and started racing again in July. In the first few months, it was generally a disadvantage to race towards the inside rail from low draws. Loads of the winners were coming late and wide round the outside of the track. Now, things have changed since the winter set in. The track's obviously bedded down. They've been deep harrowing because of the temperatures. And since December, it's been a prominent racer's benefit. Now, we start on Friday at 4:30 with a 5 furlong race. We've had 20 races over course and distance since racing resumed, and 9 of those were won by a front runner who made all, 9 run by prominent racers, and only 2 of the 20 were won by hold-up horses. So beware, over 5 furlongs in particular, any horse who was ridden patiently last time out. Now, since December and the Deep Harrowing, the 6 5-furlong races, there's been no winners from off the pace. 28 horses have tried, all have failed. Front runners have won 4 compared to 2 for prominent races. So look for a horse who's likely to be on the front end. Now, looking through the running styles of that first race, again, we don't know the draw or the final declarations, but there was only 8 declared at the 5-day stage, and it looks like last time out winner Drish Venture might be the one who gets the early lead. Now, he made all over 6 furlongs here last time out, and shouldn't be inconvenienced by the 1 furlong drop in trip. Now, I am going to talk about one jumps meeting this week, and that's Cheltenham's Trials Day on Saturday. Hopefully it will survive the weather. Soft, heavy in places at the time of recording, and let's hope we get some quality jumps action. Now, the first race is very interesting. This is the JCB Triumph Hurdle Trial. And there's one stable, or 2 stables now, that I want to talk about in particular. Those of Nick and Jane Williams, husband and wife team, who actually now train separately either side of a fence at their Devon yard. Now, over the course of this century, had you bet all runners from Nick and Jane in January, you would have made a good profit. They often go well at this time of year. December is usually a profitable month as well. And it's 43 winners from 220 bets, strike rate of almost 20%, and a profit of £38.63 to a £1 level stake. Both yards have been among the winners in the last week or so, and they tend not to waste bullets when they're, by tilting at windmills and running horses in graded company that don't have a realistic chance of winning. Now, if we only look at Grade 2 and Grade 3 races, Nick and Jane have won 10 from 37 in these contests, plus £23.13 to a £1 level stake at SP. Now, Nick's won this race twice previously, including last year with Galahad Quest and with La Roche several years before that. Now, both are represented. Nick's got Yggdrasil, who was a little bit disappointing when I bet him each way in the finale hurdle, a Grade 1 contest at Chepstow last time, finishing 5th. But this easier grade and that run behind him, perhaps the experience was still needed. It was only his 2nd run over hurdles, so maybe he can reward each way support here. But the one I'd rather put up as a bet is Jane's horse, Honneur d'Argent. Now, this one ran a really good race on his hurdles debut behind Montmoral at Exeter in November. Paul Nicholls' horse, who won that, has since followed up in Grade 2 company at Doncaster. And Honneur d'Argent himself was very unlucky next time out. He's gone to Kempton. He's a 7-2 shot from 9-2. He's gone from the front, and he's a length in front, jumping the last, looking the likeliest winner, going better than anything else, and he's tipped up and hit the deck. So assuming he's showing no ill effects from that, I think he could be the way to go out of that pair. But I will be backing both. That's it from me until next week. Until then, best of luck if you're having a bet. Cheers.